Welcome back to Veronica Live, and it's the last hour of our show, and I'm looking out the window, John, and, I live on the water, and it's picturesque, and there was, some huge boat. It looked like one of those screamers that you put, tourists on and torture them, just going around the bay right now with a warm-up, but breathtaking day here in Freedom, Florida. We've got a lot to talk about. The Fisa seems to, I don't know. I just don't want people spying on us. And
before we get into that, I need to know. I absolutely need to know, when is the mayor of Shell Island resuming her leadership role?
Well, soon, I hope. We took the boat out for Easter when my daughter was down from New York City. We did have lunch at Uncle Ernie's. We froze to death getting to Uncle Ernie's for 30 minutes. So right now, if you put your toe in the water, it's too cold. And we had that horrific storm here this week. Was that 2 days ago? I never get any sleep. It was, of course, more soffit always blows off my house. I've paid to get freaking soffit up. And then my friend was she's like, I'm $2,000 already just this year into her screens for her pool. And of course, when you live on the water and you have a seawall, I have these wood planks, and literally I think 8 of them, they always come out, and I have this little beach area. So luckily, for the most part, when stuff goes flying off of my property, it lands up in the beach zone. But I did see them, so I fished them out. But I had whitecaps. It was the highest I've ever seen the water. It was all the way up to the dock. It was horrible. It literally was horrible.
It was almost like a mini hurricane.
It felt like a mini hurricane, honestly. Yeah. And there was a lot of destruction around town. You saw it everywhere. And so anyways, I'm like, how many more of these? Because I don't even think we're into hurricane season yet.
Yeah, well, as long as the hail doesn't come, that's...
Right. I was petrified of hail because we've already had the roof, last year. And then, of course, I think the storm was 2 a.m. and my doodle Cupid was like, because I make them sleep in another room. And so she was like, please come rescue me. So I did rescue her. I told my husband, I'm like, suck it up. We're having dogs in the bed. And of course, once they got in the bed, they passed out, except the dachshund wanted to be next to him. And he's like, what is this? So at 2 a.m, he got a couple free wet kisses. But it was scary, And once the dogs are in the bed, they don't say anything. They're like, we've made it to a human bed. We're happy. So my second husband will allow dogs in the bed. That's always my joke. The one of 30 plus years does not. But no, constantly.
I'll stick with cats.
So, and then on a really cool note, I was interviewed by, it's called Go Christian Magazine. And they wanted to interview me about the show and how I bring God into it. So that'll come out this summer. And so I'm really excited about that, actually, because, you and I talk, we've had so many God moments on this show. And that's why we're constantly working. We can evangelize and try to save babies and have God leaders on. And there's when you're a true conservative, I think God's part of your equation. And so hopefully that'll come out in that little article.
Well, this entire country is based on the concept that there is a God, and that He's the guiding star, and He's given us our natural inalienable rights, and that's where all this starts at. If you can't get there, the rest of it makes no sense. So you need that foundation, and speaking of foundations, I was glad to see finally the Vatican comes out with a story about sex changes being a threat to human dignity. And I was like, finally,
we like something. Well, I don't think the Pope's in charge, but yes. Yeah. I actually wrote on here, I wrote finally in the afterburner, really big, John. And so the big takeaway, the quote was, any sex change procedure as a rule risks threatening the unique dignity that a person has received from the moment of conception. And it says, describing the human body as a God-given gift, it added that exceptions can be made for medical procedures aimed at addressing genital abnormalities present from birth, which sometimes, sadly, that happens. But finally, we have clarity. So, I was so happy too.
If you go back to, I don't know if you remember, I think it was Pope John Paul's Theology of the Body.
Oh my gosh,
yes. Ever read that letter?
Right.
That was so that's back to foundational concepts. You have to start from a solid foundation of how you view the world and how you view humanity. And like I said, finally it's starting to align. The Mayo Clinic came out with something
that was the
along
other
that
hot
lines
story
about the puberty blockers, about trying to change sex and the dangers and unintended consequences that come along with that.
Well, I commented on X because this week one of the big stories was, Ben Affleck is married to Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, and they're called Bennifer. And Ben Affleck was married to what's the actress's name? I can't even think of it right now. A famous actress. He had 3 children with her. She used to do like a spy show. What is it? Jennifer something is her name. And anyways, their daughter, the middle one, this week, their grandfather died, so she's at the funeral, and she's been looking like a boy. And so is J-Lo's daughter, too, that used to look like a girl, has been looking like a boy. And so this girl officially came out. Her name was Serafina, and now it's Finn, wearing a boy suit, buzz cut, used to be the cutest girl ever. And so I commented on X. Number one, I was like, why are parents allowing this crap? Number 2, I've had Dr. Flynn, my neighbor, on that used to see anorexia and bulimia all the time. He doesn't see that anymore. He sees this, and I'm done with it. And then, of course, if they say they want to get mutilated, these liberal parents are like, okay, we'll do that. You cannot do that. And they need to start saying, knock it off. And of course, there's trauma in these kids' life. Their parents have all been divorced. Jennifer Lopez goes through men like Kleenex. So these children, there's no foundation there, and probably no God either. John, they have no moral reference to make those kind of decisions. And what's interesting is just this gender change stuff has been going on long enough now that you're starting to see where kids, teens or whatever, that had the gender change surgery, now that they're adults, 10 years later, just absolutely regretting, it's like, why didn't somebody stop me? I'm permanently scarred and altered and can't change back to anything. And I wish I'd never done that, And the Mayo article says 24 states have outlawed puberty blockers and other trans care for minors. But then Europe has gotten wise, because UK recently came out and said no. Norway, Finland, Sweden, Holland are like no. And the article also talks about taking these puberty blockers, that they can cause cancer. And having had cancer, why are we doing this to children? It's not fun to have cancer. It's a long road to get to the other side of it. Right. And why would you ever subject children to potentially having cancer?
Well, as a society, there's a reason we don't allow children to enter into contracts, because they're minors and they don't know enough about the world or making decisions or anything else. So why is it that it's okay for the schools behind the parents' back to go and do these gender altering surgeries or give them drugs without the parents' knowledge?
Hell no, because they don't even want you taking an antibiotic.
Right.
And I had to
take an aspirin, but I had to take
two. Two sets of antibiotic when I had COVID, and my stomach is still off. It's been more than a month, and I'm still not where I need to be, because it messes you up. And they're saying, and that's the other thing, you can't take an antibiotic, but I can give you a puberty blocker. Give me a freaking break. No.
Well,
no. Parents need to say no. You're not shaving your head. You're not going to dress like a boy. No, not in this house. Nobody's saying no. They let them do whatever they want.
Well, it's because whatever's popular. So, it's like, when is it the time going to come when you can't take an aspirin at school without a doctor's signature and an armored truck to carry the aspirin in, but you can go into the nurse's office and say, hey, I'm pregnant and I want what is it? What is it called? Day one after pill. I don't even remember the abortion pill that they're trying to make available over the counter for anybody who wants to buy one.
Scream no doctor needed. Yeah, it's so out of control. It's so out of control.
We just lost our way, and so I'm sad about that. And I don't. The even sadder part is I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And it's probably going to get worse with the way
and then in 20
we're
years,
dividing this country up.
If we're still kicking, we're going to see all these people that have cancer and all these things, and it's because their parents were stupid and allowed this. And I'm really surprised that Europe is smarter than us, because normally we're leading the way, and we so are not. But the Vatican and the Mayo Clinic, and I do all my cancer work at the Mayo because they are cutting edge, always leading the way, and they are. So was very happy to see that article as well in our afterburner, John. But
So how about Trump raising $50 million in one night? People were saying, the RNC is dead. We can't have Laura Trump, and Biden goes out and raises $25 million. And it's like, oh, my God, they're going to bury us, And
I know. And they're so petrified, the Dems.
And the best part of that story was Trump's largest contributor, which is Marianne Adelson.
Right, I saw
Sheldon Adelson
90 million
was her
or
husband.
something they're going after.
Yeah, she gave $90 million last time around, and she hasn't
gosh.
donated yet. So there's still plenty of big fish out there for him to get. But the number that I thought was probably the best number I've seen is the small donation number. Trump is outraising. This is just purely on donation numbers, not dollars. The number of people donating. Trump is outraising Biden 5-1 on small donors. These are the people that give, $5, $10, $20. And what was being pointed out was, the whales, like these people that gave all this money, they can give it one time up to the limit, and then they're tapped out. You can't go back to that well again. But the small donors that give you, $5 or 10 or 20 or whatever, you can go back to them a lot and get more money from them. So the fact that your mailing list, your donor list is 5 times larger on the small donors is a really key metric.
They're sick of it. And I love this too. That hotelier, however you say that word, Robert Bigelow, initially was behind DeSantis, but then he has come out supporting Trump. So he gave $1 million to help Trump's legal bills, and he said he would give $20 million for the campaign. So, because everybody's sick of it. Everybody, rich people, poor people, anybody that has clarity is sick of what we're living in. We're sick of people saying death to America. Hell no. We'll deport your ass back to your third world country that, by the way,
exactly,
probably you'd be nobody and they'd kill you. So with no free speech. So
to me, that's the first people when they talk about rounding up all these illegals and sending them back. That's where they ought to start with is the Death to America crowd. Go find every one of them and deport their asses.
Well, that terrorist that we know about, how many do we not know about? Why is the FBI director coming out trying to scare us? Because there's probably terrorist cells everywhere right now, and then these gangs
it's all
as
going to
well.
Be a cover your butt thing,
Well, there's no cover your butt because nobody's standing up for you or me, and then we're the ones that get hurt by what these lack of policies are delivering to our nation, and I want Trump in power, and I'm fine with taking out cartels. We don't need drugs. We don't need fentanyl anymore. We've got to draw the line somewhere, and who's going to draw the line but Trump?
Well, that's why I think that's why he's leading is, the contrast is so stark, between Biden and Trump. And this week was just another great example. Here you have Trump walks into a Chick-fil-A in Atlanta, right? Almost the entire staff in that restaurant was black.
We love you.
They're right, exactly. And the photo or the video of the girl coming up and hugging Trump went viral, and it's like, wait a minute, black people aren't supposed to like Trump.
And he bought everybody shakes.
Right.
Bought everybody and I love a good Chick-fil-A shake. I was just I wrote on X, before I was hacked for like several hours because Brazil wanted my account because they're mad at Elon, that whoever the executives were of Chick-fil-A, thank you. Hug them. See, because they're brave. They've got cojones. They allowed this to happen at Chick-fil-A. Plus,
what is Chick-fil-A though? What are they?
They're definitely a Christian-based company, and
There
they
you
don't
go,
work on
a
Sundays.
Christian-based-
And when they've been pushed,
Yep.
when the LGBT thing, was awful to them. I remember I was coming back from Atlanta, and that line in the Dothan Chick-fil-A was like it was like 2 miles long. So they just don't take it, and they're brave. And guess what? Everybody still wants Chick-fil-A. So, no, I was very pleased that they allowed that. So I commented on X, and of course, the anti-MAGA people go after you, So I'm kind of getting used to that now. The anti-MAGA or MAGA.
Have you ever noticed? And I really find this curious. Every time you go into a Chick-fil-A, and I don't care where it's at in the country, I've been all over this country. You go into Chick-fil-A, and it's always cheerful people.
Yeah, and they don't have green hair. Exactly.
Right.
My pleasure.
It's like going in and out.
Well, it was funny that you say that, because I used to, when we were doing the show from the radio station before we fully became the podcast, I would stop at the Chick-fil-A in town, and so the lady was there every Saturday morning. Who's on today, Veronica? And so I actually saw her this week when I was visiting my therapist, Dr. TJ Maxx, and she hugged me. She goes, "How are you? What's happening?" Because she didn't realize we're full on podcast now. And she hugged me. She's like, "I'm so happy you're still doing this, and we miss seeing you Saturday morning." And damn it, I missed that Saturday morning Chick-fil-A.
I know. Chick-fil-A.
But that was beautiful. And of course, I did get beat up on X. The other story I loved in our afterburner, which is, this is like, they're always going after anybody that's on the Trump team. The seller of Ashley Biden's diary, mother of two, gets prison time for exploiting the first daughter. And over the book that the what is up with the Biden kids? They leave books, their diaries and their laptops that showcase how terrible these people are, and that she did shower with President Biden. So now this woman who stole the diary because it was left in the room that she was renting out to Ashley Biden.
It was not stolen. It was left behind. She left it
sold
behind.
It was supposed to be $40,000 to Project Veritas. She got $20,000, and then somehow got wrapped up in all of this legal battle. And they're saying that she exploited the first daughter, and so now she's got to do the prison term. And she's got a 6 and an 8-year-old, I think. So
yeah. Well, what was the story though initially? That it was all fabricated, that it was a lie, that it was not true. And it's like, wait a minute, somebody's going to prison for something that's a fabricated lie. That can't be. That's not possible. So, but the fact that they sent her to prison must mean the diary is true. And why is nobody talking about Joe Biden taking a shower with his daughter? I mean, what's wrong with this country? This is insane. It's like the Hunter Biden laptop, Oh, that was a Russian plant, but it's like they've never denied.
But I can't take seeing that man in his tidy whities. I'll scream. I'll scream.
but you have the press. Back to the NPR story, right?
Oh, yes.
They're all liberals. The press is just nothing more than an organ of the Democrat Party. And that's
some of the
you should treat
things that the guy said, I'm trying to find my note here about what he talked about. Oh, he said that everybody in the newsroom, this is the NPR editor, everybody in the newsroom, there was like 83 people or something, they were all Democrats, that they dismissed the COVID lab leak story. They dismissed the Hunter Biden laptop story. What else? I think the Hamas thing too. Yeah, so complete. I mean, I can't stand listening to NPR because they talk too slow, and they can't. It's so liberal, it's awful.
Well, I thought the editor had a good point. When he says, when we have segments called "All Things Considered," the problem is you have to consider all things, not just half of the things that fit your narrative. And that's what they've become. They should change the name of it to Half Things Considered, because we're not going to discuss the conservative half of anything. But
Well, and I wanted to talk, well, I'm glad he stepped up, and I guess NPR, and we just had Drew Allen on. They get millions and millions of dollars from the government.
Right.
Let's get millions to fund Veronica Live so we
but
can go nationally.
What's going to happen, though? What the bottom line is, what's going to happen? Are they going to change their way? No, because they internally don't see anything wrong with it. And if they tried to bring in conservatives or have a conservative point of view, the current staff would look at MSNBC, Ronna McDaniel, right? We're talking a really mild Republican, okay? She's not a hardcore MAGA person, and the quote talent, if that's what they really are, threatened to basically walk out, quit, whatever.
Well, they filleted her like a fish.
Right.
They filleted her like a fish.
They don't want any. The manager said we want viewpoint diversity. We want to hear from the other side because unlike Fox at least says they try to be fair and balanced to the extent they are, but MSNBC has no desire to be fair and balanced. They want to talk in a monotone group. That they're all leftist.
Okay, and I don't know if you saw this, but when I was trying to fix my LinkedIn account that was hijacked by Miss Deutschland of Germany, I follow Dr. Carol Swain on LinkedIn and on X. And so she wrote, not the Babylon Bee. Shouldn't she be taking this class? And it's Dr. Gay from Harvard that was demoted, still getting her $1 million salary and is a professor. And the story is serial plagiarist Claudine Gay to teach reading and research ethics class at Harvard. Can we not even make up this shiza? So I got it. Let me find Dr. Carol Wayne because the comments are just worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Not a comedy, right?
That's real. No, it's freaking real because I went and Googled it because I was like, what the hell? Because she was like, it sounds like a Babylon Bee. It sounds like a Babylon Bee story. I'm like, what the hell? Let's see some of these comments because they're juicy when you've got this going on. Oh my gosh.
It's just astonishing the way the left sees nothing wrong with this. They don't see the irony.
Well, here are the comments.
Maybe they do.
Someone wrote, "That's awesome. Good to see Harvard has kept their high standards. No wonder why most who dropped out went on to become successful." To this one, will she also teach advanced irony? And someone's like, Harvard keeps disgracing themselves. And someone wrote, I would never send my children to Harvard with leadership like this in place, And then it says, why wouldn't she? Flaunting it and thus teaching or showing the younger generation that crime, DEI pays. Disgusting. They're destroying American institutions on purpose. And then this other woman wrote, didn't she copy you?
Well, the label poison ivies is
yes, that's a good call sign for her if she was a fighter pilot, and then it says those are DEI ethics, which is no ethics at all, and Harvard's way of giving Americans the middle finger. I mean, the comments are they're wonderful. Get gay gone. The rally cry for 2024 needs to be, we broke the woke. So, and that was a black guy that posted that. Because when I saw this, I honestly thought it was a DEI thing. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh. Harvard's just a disgrace. I'm like, and then I wrote, I responded like, who's in charge of Harvard making these awful decisions? And alumni, like, they're snobby. They've got to be pissed. I mean, come on. They've got to be pissed at this point.
Well, if they were pissed, they would do something about it, and they won't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's just back to moral foundations, And
someone wrote, the teacher becomes the student, and then the clown world. Yeah, this is just, I feel bad for people that, because when you're young and the dream, like I've always said, if you could go to Harvard or Columbia or Brown or Princeton, I mean, your life is made, right?
Well, the problem is this is infecting our society. So these people coming out of these indoctrination cells that are called colleges, particularly the Poison Ivy League colleges, they become the government bureaucrats of tomorrow. So if this is their thinking, how much worse is it going to be in 20 or 30 years?
Well, it's going to be bad because it's already out there, and a lot of these kids that have graduated believe this. I mean, someone wrote she shouldn't even be allowed to teach, kindergarten, and then somebody wrote conservatives are being trolled when libs do things like this, and that is the truth. Why would they allow that? Why would you allow somebody that is cheated, I think 50 times, I don't know, it was some weird amount, that you're going to let her teach it? Somebody's like, oh, geez, what do they call this? Oxymoron. It's so laughable.
Well, because we have a president of the United States that's just as bad. How many speeches has he plagiarized? Neil McKennick's speech, word for word, he plagiarized it, and he got called on it. Was he embarrassed? No. Did anybody do anything about it? No. We elected him president of the United States. And so there's no consequences for the behavior.
This one's funny. Someone wrote, Dr. Carroll, take the class, and once you got that fish on the hook, reel her all the way in. That would be so funny. Oh, my God.
Stand up and ask the question. Well, by the way, you plagiarized my paper, And
someone wrote, unthinkable. At least
Harvard's... Tell us about the ethical situation on that.
Yeah, they're like, at least Harvard's consistent in their standards or lack thereof. And then someone's like, the curriculum must be 101 ways to plagiarize and be unethical. Yeah, this is absolutely, gosh.
Because there's no consequences for behavior, the behavior never gets
altered. This one's good. I would take this class knowing I'll get a pass for plagiarism. Easy grade.
You can't fail that class, okay? You can't fail it. There's no way.
Hell no, I would be AIing it because there was a news story that came out, papers that are turned in 80% now are AI'd.
Exactly.
I tried it once when I was writing something. My son sent it to me. He's like, Mom, check this out. And I'm an excellent writer. I've won awards for writing, and I was very impressed, I have to say. So if you want to be lazy, you can AI it. But does this not seem like this is like a joke? It is a Babylon Bee headline, but it's reality in Biden's world today. And then when you're vocal, I'm like, why am I getting attacked that I had to change all my passwords, John? Is it because now we're so vocal? I've been on 75,000 feeds now. I'm growing every week on X. I've got more followers.
You become a target. The bigger you get, the more of a target.
And I'm a nobody. And this, when you hack my LinkedIn, which I was like, what? How would you even get that password? And then you take it over fully, delete all my stuff because you want my contacts and to make my life miserable. Why? So it's probably not even a German person. It's probably some Chinese person,
Well, you never know these days.
No.
But speaking of artificial intelligence and Chat GTP, I came across a really, really interesting piece. We were talking last week about the power grid and these electric trucks and how there's, we're trying to do this green energy garbage and we're not generating enough electricity. And it's continuing to go down because we're putting all these power plants out of commission that use gas and coal and that kind of stuff. And I was kind of surprised by this story, but he was talking about the amount of power that AI takes. And that
I was too reading it.
Is moving, they think in 5 years or so, because of the amount of computing power that's needed for all this artificial intelligence stuff, that it may consume 30 to 40% of the power generation capacity of this country. And I was like, wow, we're not building power plants fast enough to satisfy that kind of energy demand. And then you throw on these green, electric cars and electric trucks and all this stuff. And it's like, you just can't replace this stuff fast enough. So something's going to give at some point. We're going to have a grid collapse.
Yeah. Well, I think, and if you're a terrorist, I'm going to try to take out your grid. So, that's the thing. That if I was a terrorist that's come through the border, because when you pass these little power plant little setups around town, they have a fence around them. That's it.
Right. Start taking out substations. And somebody did that about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was up in Virginia, where somebody was up on a hill and they started shooting at a power substation and actually, with a rifle and did substantial damage to it and took it out. And they had no idea who did it or why or anything else. It just showed how vulnerable this stuff is to people coming in and all the organized idiots coming across the border, with no checks. That how many of them are going to end up doing that kind of stuff?
Well,
so it's
I don't know. There was on X, it was a video like in New York with a bunch arriving, illegals that have been dropped off, and it's this video shot at midnight, and there's all these children. It's just what are we doing to this world? We've got all these people, we don't know who you are. Now they're bag dragging. Some of them are bag dragging their children. There's just. It's a mess, John. I don't know how to fix it.
It's the lawlessness. It's the gangs. All this stuff is being imported. We have all these countries, in South America opening their prisons and dumping their criminals, just to have them walk up to the border and come in the United States and become gang members up here. I mean, when you see these people, the young lady that was murdered up in Athens, Georgia, a good example. What was her name? Laken
Riley, I think.
Laken Riley. Yeah. She would be alive today if we'd closed the effing border, okay?
You have a White House that sends condolences to O.J. Simpson's children trying to get the black vote. I'm like, I'm sick to my stomach. Because when you're in the military and somebody dies, I've been in our hearts and prayers go out to the family business before, and it doesn't go out to a murderer. I'm sorry. And then you forget everybody else that was left in the tragic path. And I'd forgotten a lot about it because when the O.J. Simpson thing happened, I was living in Germany, but it was kind of the first time that we all came together and you started watching news outlets. And it was definitely, CNN had been around and was a 24-hour news outlet, but it was like the first time you were in a courtroom and people were playing to the cameras, and then anybody that ever went to that scene of what OJ killed these people, it was like the bloodiest scene ever. It was funny because my daughter wasn't of that era. So she texted me, it was like, hey, OJ died. And then she's like, was he really a killer? Because the youngins don't know. And I was like, oh yeah, he had good lawyers. And that was the other thing that's come out the last 2 days. The narrative has been, it was the first time a black man had good lawyers. And so you could get off, because you had good lawyers. And it was also, they let him off because they didn't want to have a high visibility black man go to jail, which fast forward, eventually, didn't he try to steal his Heisman Trophy in Vegas from somebody?
Yeah, he ended up going to prison for grand theft.
For 9 years. For 9 years. So he finally did, thank you, Jesus, got some prison time.
But again, a
race issue. They made it a race issue again this week, that we don't like black people and we want to send everybody to jail. No, that's not true. I don't like criminals, murderers, thieves. And I don't care what color you are. He was a murderer. His ass should have been in jail, probably the death penalty, because it was such a gruesome murder. And then the guy that was visiting Nicole Brown got caught in the crosshairs of it all, ruined forever. His dad came out with a statement I heard saying he never got to get married, never got to have children. I didn't get to have grandchildren. People forget these things. He didn't get to have a life because his was taken, and the criminal gets off.
Well, I'm the eye for an eye kind of person, okay? You out and murder somebody, well, that's why we have a death row, and it shouldn't take 20 years to exterminate you. There's evil in the world, okay? And evil needs to be disposed of. And there's nothing wrong
and what happened
with
when he was in prison?
Evil.
I remember it was like a soft prison, like he's, it was one of those gentlemen, Martha Stewart-y kind of prisons. And And he protected all of his assets, so he had money. He still had a girlfriend. So how did his life get ruined? It didn't. And then I didn't realize this. I guess I'd forgotten this, that he eventually won custody of the children too, that were living with the woman he'd murdered. So these people are psycho, and it's not a race issue. I'm so sick of race. When are we going to be over race? I don't care what skin color you are.
Well, we're not, because they
keep dragging it out with reparations.
Right, and the incentive is divisiveness. Is to divide us into tribes. You got the Muslim tribe up in Michigan. We talked about the Drew earlier. they have no interest in assimilation. Okay, no interest. They want to be a closed Muslim community, and death to America. you know, so
yeah,
that is so wrong, and it's so antithetical to the American idea that there's no way that America can survive in that kind of environment.
Well,
you have to destroy it. You have to get rid of it.
Well,
they want death. I'll go back to being Hamas and all these groups. And the best thing I heard him describe the other day as tribes. You have the Hamas tribe. You have the Hezbollah tribe. You've got the Palestinian Authority tribe, and if it wasn't for the fact that you had the Israelis and the Jews as a common enemy, that they would be killing each other because that's their tribal mentality.
Well, and they're all terrorists. They're all terrorists.
Right. But the fact is that it's a tribal mentality, and again, if the Jews weren't there, they would be killing each other, over the territory. So there's no heroics to this stuff. There's no great grand cause, to be part of. And like I said, after listening to that piece with Ben Shapiro and these people, I mean that, it's mainly women, but even some of the men came up there, and there was no reasoning with these people. And to hear this at Oxford, okay, we're talking about, one of the premier colleges in the world,
right.
Where reason debate is a central tenet of there was no reasoning with these people. Absolutely none. So
no, I don't understand it, because there was on X a little footage of that Tlaib, what's her name? Tlaib, the congresswoman.
Oh, Rashida Tlaib, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like trying to corner her to answer questions, and she's running away. And then I saw another one. It was a Fox News reporter. And she goes, "I never talked to Fox." I'm like, okay, yeah, because you're a terrorist. So,
well, and she was blaming it as she says it wouldn't answer the question because of the racist insinuation in the question, about death to America by these people. But the problem is, and Rashida Tlaib is a prime example, of the idiots we have in Congress. And I mean, you would think out of a country of 360 million some people that we would be able to find people smarter than the morons that get elected to Congress.
Which takes me back to when I listened to George Santos on X. I mean, I know he did some things that we don't agree with, but his vote would have been there every single time. Yep. And his show is phenomenal. So I'm going to get him on the show because obviously he likes me because he wanted me to talk. He sent me the little message, George Santos invites you to talk. And then when I put out that I've been hacked, he liked it. But to get Gates, that's what I love about Congressman Gates. He showed up to this platform the last 10 minutes. Then we ended up going another hour after the show was supposed to be done, breaking down FISA. Because guess what? We sent Congressman Gates to represent you and me. And oh my gosh, John, he's actually doing it. I came up with the slogan, "I'm done with done," because I'm over it. The man has not voted for us. I went and scoured his social media this week, Instagram and Facebook. They're literally in the last 2 months, I think there was 3 or 4 pictures only of him, where I looked at my friend, Congressman August Pfluger, that's out of Texas, that flew with my husband that I've known for years. Every single day he's with the constituents. He's putting stuff out. We got the Done vitamin C thing he puts out. I'm scouring because I want to read about FISA. Nothing. It's dumb issues. And then I got the one I sent it to you from August Pfluger, the congressman. Like all the issues are there that he's fighting for, not fluff that somebody rode their bikes across the country or whatever the hell it was.
Or he talked to the postmaster about why the mail delivery in Tallahassee.
Well, and then you look at his Facebook and his Instagram. It's all the weather reports of breaking news because we have bad weather. You're not my weatherman. And this is not a hurricane. You are up in D.C. fighting so that people aren't spying on me, who I'm not doing the wrong thing. And you're trying to get that damn border secured. So, and right. I know this.
He's not a leader. Okay. He just does.
Where
what he's
is
told.
he? He's not on there was literally 3 or 4 pictures, and then it was Team Dunn went here. Team Dunn. Excuse me, I'm sneezing here. So, and then you look at Gates's page on fire. Here, there, flying. His wife now is like, I'm flying to go help with this agenda. You know, his wife's involved. So my new slogan is I'm done with done. So, and then this week, Rhonda Wood filed to run against Congressman Dunn, and she's a retired principal and a business owner. And for the last few years, because he's been in office, I think 6 years now, or a couple terms, I have been the complaint department for Congressman Dunn's office. And literally, people like from all over the Panhandle have complained to me that we don't see him. What is he doing for us? Why isn't he fighting harder? And I don't ever see him because, you know, I'm doing this event this week. I was hired because I am a communication and protocol expert. So I'm putting on an event for a developer that's there's a story about it now out there already. He spent $50 million here in the Panhandle with this property. And so I'm putting on this event, and I'm trying to get all the movers and shakers to attend. And his office can't even get them to call me back. And I'm a constituent, and I have cell numbers to his people. And, you know, this is big news when somebody rolls in and plunks money into your town, and we want them to come back, right? $50 million is a good news story, and I can't even get his office to respond to me. Who is he responding to? And then when you look at his Facebook and Instagram, there's barely any commentary because I think it's all been deleted because if you see a negative, it's not there when you go back. So
of course not.
I don't know what's going on. Nobody's representing me, and then they don't even call me when it comes to, you know, promoting our area and our region and a good news story. And so I'm done with done. I might make a T-shirt that says that. I've coined the phrase, and I've literally been his complaint department. I'm not kidding. I am not. I voted for him every time, you know, and I did help Mary Thomas, who lost in the beginning by 1%, and that was really sad because Governor Scott at the time didn't come out for her until like the end, and it was too late. He should have stepped up way before. She'd worked for him, and he finally came out with her. But why do you wait till the end of a freaking campaign when all the absentee ballots are already out? You know what I'm saying? It was so weak to me. That was a beta move. We need to be alphas, and the people that don't like Congressman Gates, well, guess what? He's available. He's out there. He's pushing the agenda. I know what he's doing. So
that's what we need. We need people that are out there to fight for us in order to affect change. Excuse me. Congressman Dunn is not a fighter, and he's not going to affect any change. He's not starting anything because you'd have to have some principles to start with, okay? You'd have to believe in something. You know, Gates sits there and says, "What we need to stop these continuing resolutions. You know, this is ridiculous. It's not how this is supposed to work." And he doesn't care if people get mad at him. And it hasn't been working for 2 decades. When do you say, stop, enough is enough, we're done with this? And at least he's willing to stand up and be counted. And Dunn just sits there and says, well, which way is the wind blowing? What does the speaker want me to do?
And I can't even...
I'll vote however the speaker says to vote, you know? And that is just... It's a disservice to the constituents. It's a disservice to the country.
I'm tired of being the complaint department. And I'm tired of being the complaint department, and I'm doing a legitimate event this week coming up for a billionaire that has brought big bucks to our area, and I can't even get somebody to respond back to me. It's not about me. This is about our area, and anybody would want to be part of this good news story. So
that would require work on somebody's part to do that, to get out and some
know.
level of energy. And I don't think
like
he's got the
I
energy
said
level.
when I went when I tried to help Peter Feynman win our national committeeman win the chairmanship when we had the sexcapade story that went global and it keeps rearing its head up. That's when he showed up and like all of the Panhandle people, the movers and shakers, part of the RECs here, what does REC stand for today? I'm tired now.
Republican Executive Committees.
Yes, all the movers and shakers that have been elected and voted in to fight for the Republicans across Florida were there. And the Panhandle ones were like, we never see him. Why is he here? Because it was a national story and national cameras were there. And so they
Right.
didn't allow me
Right.
in. And they made all of us that weren't one of these voting members kicked out. So I was hanging with the national press, and the first person to come out that talked to national press was Congressman Dunn. And I was like, "Where have you been?" And again, I fielded that entire day complaints about why is he here. So I'm just exhausted from it because I think you have to fight, John. You have to fight harder than ever now. It totally matters. When I saw some stat this week. Used cars up 20+%, new cars up 20+%, groceries are up like I think 20%, going out to a restaurant was up to whatever. Like everything is out of control. People that I was really sad because I've started working out this week, so that might be why I'm disgruntled because I'm in pain. I worked out 4 times, so 4 hours. I've gone from 0 to mock. My call sign's fly mock because I went fly mock in the gym. I can barely move. I can't even lift my hand up to touch the microphone. But I stopped to get a diet soda, which I know that's bad for me, but oh well, at the little Circle K. And there was this guy, long hair, young guy, and he had a girl with him, and she was holding a newborn baby. He was like job interviewing at Circle K with like his girlfriend or whoever with the baby. And I just broke my heart because I'm like, how are these people making it? How are they making it, John?
I don't know, Veronica.
How are they making it?
Published the other day and
you and I are older. We've worked so hard. We've got retirement plans, and I mean, I've always kicked ass. I'm still working, trying to kick ass. And
yeah, but at some point you look at the value. Like I said, I went to Publix the other day and I needed a jar of Hellmann's mayonnaise, right? Which I like that brand. And I'm not talking about a gallon of mayonnaise. Okay, I'm talking about a quart jar. $10 for a. I almost fell over.
Yes, and my friend. Like, now that you say that, my best friend said she went to buy Heinz. It was organic ketchup. Heinz ketchup, $8. $8. This is like a $3 staple. $8.
Right.
I'm like,
right.
I was,
exactly.
and that was in a commissary. That was a commissary where things only have a 10% markup. That's why we shop at the commissary. So $8 for frickin' ketchup. That's a staple in everybody's fridge. How are people making it? What are they eating? Dirt?
Well, the problem is, and they're talking about these. As one of the stories in the stack here is about the inflation thief rises again. Yeah. And they were talking about all these wage increases. We're raising the minimum wage up. We're paying these workers at McDonald's $20 an hour now, and all this kind of stuff. So they're talking about all this, and somebody did a calculation and said, "Oh, wait, let's look at the dollar value of these wage increases versus the inflation on the price of goods, gasoline, clothes, food in particular." And it turned out that the net dollar increase in wages over the last year, 7 cents. That you're 7 cents an hour better.
Everything's out of control, and
it's because the inflation is just that it's not stopped. It's that was a big story this week. Inflation. The Fed is not going to cut the interest rates this summer because the inflation rate is back up to 4%. And that's the government understating it by almost half of what the real inflation rate is.
I know, you're always my numbers guy. I love it. Well, like you said, you go to the store and you're literally scandalized. And, luckily you and I have worked hard that we can afford an $8 ketchup, but I don't want to pay. I want to pay $3.
Well, the question is, Veronica, how much longer can we afford?
Well, and that's the thing. What happens when we fully retire? You're definitely living on a budget, and you can't afford everything to be $8. So yeah, no, it's just. I mean, luckily we're still both kind of working, and but it's just I don't know how's that guy with the baby that needs Pampers and formula and baby wipes making it. I have no idea.
It's not. Well, they've got the advantage of being poor enough to qualify for all these government programs, which the government's more than happy to keep people dependent on government. The people that are really getting slammed are the ones that can't. That are the low end, okay? The ones we call the lower middle class. Yeah. It's like you make too much money to qualify for the government programs. And believe me, I've been there, okay? Been there, done that. You're earning.
I remember money. In the military, even though we were young officers. It's not like you're making a lot of money. You're not. You have to
right,
pay.
But you didn't qualify.
Right. But I still had to buy, my son had to be on soy milk because normal milk, didn't work for him. And it was more.
Right.
And I just remember I was like, oh my gosh, every week it was a lot of money.
But these are the people, they probably make enough money. They've got a house, they've got a mortgage, they've got car payments, you got to buy gas, you got to buy food for the kids. And they're the ones that don't get any government programs. They don't qualify for the handouts. Those are the people that are being really,
and they're
really
working
hurt.
hard. They're showing up for work, and
they
they're
show
getting
up every
stabbed
day.
in the back by
Yep.
$8 ketchups and then $10 mayo. I know. So I have seen that because when I have shopped in Publix, I'm buying like the Publix brand, or I'm trying to buy one get one because that's the only way you can
BOGOs are like that's my go-to now.
The mayo,
BOGOs. If it's not BOGO, I ain't buying.
So that's the only way you can step foot into. But their bread is so damn good in Publix. There's no other bread like Publix.
I know,
and they have a sourdough French baguette sourdough that is literally to die for. But no, it's ridiculous, and
Well, we go back to leadership, and here you get people like Dunn, who's not a leader. Okay, he's not going to fix anything.
Well, I'm fed up now. I'm fed up.
One of the other stories we had, I thought was hilarious, and then I remembered. Wait a minute, Sheila Jackson Lee is a member of Congress. She actually votes on stuff.
I saw that clip.
and she's at an event and talking to students about the moon. Of course, we had the eclipse last week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. I was like, is Jesus coming? Make sure I'm on the boat. And I stayed in my house because I was afraid of the eclipse. It only got really gray here. It wasn't bad.
That was it. I'm sorry. The eclipse was this week, right?
Yeah. Monday.
But, yeah. Anyway, by the way, I went out and looked, not directly at the sun. I'm not that stupid, but I went out and looked, and we probably had, I think when I looked at it, you could see about half the sun was covered by the moon. But,
cool. Yeah, it definitely got gray around here. And then
I
had the news on. It was
gray,
cool how Dallas and New York fully became dark black. And then I guess Nashville, like 400 people got married in the dark because that was cool to do.
Yeah.
Because, you want to have an eclipse on your wedding.
But Sheila Jackson Lee was talking to these students and telling them that the moon was mainly made of gases.
The woman, and I saw that clip.
I'm like, are you not only stupid, but a stupid moron on top of that? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know who wrote her speech. It was that was the thing.
Awful. Was people were wondering, did her staff just want to do her in and write something that stupid? Did they Google it? Did they have AI write her speech? I don't know, but we're going to send people back to the moon. That's mainly gases.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Well, I'm having a nature moment. There's 2 dolphins out there, and they're, I guess, eating fish because the seagulls are like trying to get their leftovers. So it's beautiful today. It was awful.
The best eclipse moment was on the View, and it was Sonny Holston, who claims to be a lawyer, by the way.
Where are these women getting their law degrees? We got to get their money back.
I know. Kamala Harris is another. You got to wonder how did that woman ever get anywhere near a law
I don't know.
school?
And it was bad this week too, because that was another one of my ex comments that went viral. That the law school called and they wanted her degree back. So,
but here you had Sonny Holston on the View saying that the eclipse was caused by climate change. I mean, how freaking stupid can you be? And then to listen to Whoopi and the others try to rescue her was even stupider. I was just and she just are these people not embarrassed? Do they have any capacity to be embarrassed about what they say?
Justin, a Fox News story: 10 suspected illegal migrants busted for child porn at Texas human smuggling stash house. Oh, and it looks like a really nice house, John. Oh my gosh. So this is your neighbors now. They're making child porn next door. It's a beautiful house. You can't even make this up. Well, the last story I want to talk to you about before we talk about our about not my working out 4 times and I can't move.
Now, don't tell me, please don't tell me you went to Planet Fitness.
No, actually, I went to another gym because I needed adult supervision. Actually, in one of the classes, it was 2 classes. 2 of them that I did were with ladies that were much older than me, and they were fit. So I'm fat and trying to be fit, but they were actually. I was quite like going, wow. And I always, when I do go to the gym, I bounce back quickly. But I can't move today. It was hard to lift up my coffee cup,
Time for a couple of leaves, huh?
Yeah, it sucks to be old, man. Because all these other people are going to get their little Ozempic. I mean, that would definitely be the way. Instead, I go and torture myself with barbells that I'm trying not to hit on my head. So
I heard somebody say that about Washington, that the Ozempic use in Washington was like some crazy number. By
even what's awful is that even skinny actresses that were already skinny are taking it and they're looking extreme now. So that's going to be the other crazy part, is that what's going to happen to all these people that have why are they taking it when they're already skinny? Oh my gosh, these 2 dolphins are absolutely breathtaking right now. They're so pretty. But anyways, I wanted to talk about the Esper former military leaders should stay out of Trump immunity debate. And I see Esper, he's always on CNN and he does come on Fox News. So, yeah, I wanted you to talk about your thoughts on that story.
I agree 100%. When I heard that these former admirals and generals and senior DOD guys sent an amicus brief to the court about presidential immunity, I was stunned. I was past stunned. And just reading what they said was, but I know treason is an overused word, but it was certainly right up there with that stuff. And it was dangerous for a country where the military is governed, and you and I both know this, okay, former military, the civilians are in charge. The military is not to intervene. It's not designed. We're not a third world country where we have some junta, or junta or whatever you want to call it, that decides, hey, it's time to depose the government. We don't like the president or whatever. We're going to use the military to go in and basically declare martial law. So we've got laws against it, and the tradition has always been the military stays out of politics. Okay, I don't give a damn if you're retired or not. If you're retired, you're getting a pension from the government, as a military person. And if I recall correctly, our flag officers they're on some kind of inactive reserve duty, right?
Well, every officer is on
military.
Inactive reserve duty for several years, actually.
Right.
I think it's like 10 years. So, yeah, why are you politicking when you shouldn't be?
That's exactly right. And it's like, you want the pension, then you play by the military side of the rules if you want the pension.
People are doing whatever they want. They're definitely doing whatever they want. Well, so on X, this was pretty funny.
But to me, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to have the military playing these games.
I agree.
And my position on this stuff back when Miley, sits there and says, "Hey, I called the Chinese counterpart, and said if Trump tries to launch a nuke, I'm going to stop him."
Oh, I can't. I'm still scandalized by that whole thing.
I can't believe that happened.
No.
But I can believe it when you have a politicized military. That's what happens. That's the danger of this, and I don't understand why people don't see it as dangerous.
Yeah.
So to me, that whole thing about the president should not have immunity for presidential actions that he takes as commander in chief is astonishing for the military to say that, because now they're questioning.
I agree.
They're questioning his authority. They're questioning his authority over them, and that's where you get the people like Miley saying, "Hey, I'm not going to. If the president orders a nuclear strike, I'm going to override him." That's the dangerous part. And to have any military officer ever utter the words, to me, 10 or 15 years ago, it would have been inconceivable for me to think a military officer could utter those words. I'm serious.
There's just, such craziness. There was a video on X, and it showed policemen shooting at this culprit. And so, of course, this woman comes out and says he was just riding around his car, and they killed him. But oh, by the way, this guy shot 11 rounds at the police. Had they not had their cameras, they probably would be toast, and so I posted that, I'm praying for our brothers and sisters in blue, and that, why is it they're always getting kicked in the gut by losers who are manipulating the criminal story, so that one went viral, that comment this week. My other one was the video that we've been talking about throughout the whole show of Biden coming out with Jill in her fancy dress and the PM of Japan and his wife, and he literally looks like he's lost, and he's like, his eyes are huge, and he's like, where am I? And you'd think like a photo op, when you be talking to the PM going, oh, we got to smile, and then when it's over, he didn't even talk to them. And I wrote, oh my gosh, so past Biden's bedtime every day, I feel like I need to rescue him from this elder abuse. Honestly, it's getting worse and worse. And I wrote #Dem elder abuse. Okay, that one's gone viral, thousands of feeds on that one. Yeah,
I thought the story from that state dinner was Jeff Bezos's girlfriend.
Oh,
falling out of everything.
I know, and I wrote, I was like, well, she should try channeling Ivanka Trump. Yeah, you wear like a negligee to the White House. And then my comment about it's about Canada. I commented like a while ago. It was last week, not this week, the week before, about the Canadians. Like, you have to put on your resume if you've had a COVID shot. And I wrote, did they ask how many blood clots have you had too? That has gone bananas. 14,000. So yeah, it's just some of these things go crazy that I've started highlighting them on my ex that Brazil tried to hack, And then, oh yeah, it was a Wall Street. There's a Wall Street Silver, and the guy wrote, is anyone shocked by the increases in auto insurance, like how they've gone up 25%? And I wrote, drive through a Chick-fil-A, everything seems to be at least 25% more. Bidenomics, and that one's gone thousands too, like my Chick-fil-A, because everybody loves a good Chick-fil-A. And then, of course, that comment that I think I talked about last week too, about the stupid coach that won for everything, the UConn coach, how she's okay with trans athletes. That one has still got thousands of people on that one. 264 likes.
The best analysis of that I've heard was that was a comment generated by money. Okay, that was not, and that was contrasted with the division. What is it? 1 and 2s. The NAII or something like that. You have the NCAA, which is the big colleges, and then there's a smaller one that handles like junior colleges and the smaller ones that are smaller divisions. They came out against transgender. They said not going to be allowed. Biological males are not allowed to compete
in
women's sports.
That's the way it should be. And then when I comment on these things, people go after me that I'm MAGA. No, right, I don't want to compete against a man that I can't compete against.
But the thing is, at the NCAA, it's all about the money. It's about the television contracts. It's about the multi-million-dollar coaches contracts and the DEI stuff. And you have to say that stuff, whether you believe it or not. I can't imagine that coach would like to see an opposing team of men that claim to be women that her championship national team is playing against. They're going to lose, and they'll lose every time. So, does she really believe what she said? I doubt seriously if she believes what she said. I think she was forced to say it for political correctness. And it's sort of like the LSU story about them leaving the court, for the national anthem. Well, I heard an alternative explanation of that was that team leaves the court 12 minutes before the start of the game at every game. It had nothing to do with the national anthem. They go back and they get their head together before the game, and then they come out right before the start. And the national anthem had nothing to do with it. But that story is not reported. What they're saying is, they were disrespecting the national anthem. They walked off the court on purpose. It's like, no, we do it for every game. Okay. If they wanted to play the national anthem after we came back, they could have done that, but they didn't. They played it while they were gone.
Maybe they need to reevaluate, because athletes normally are out there with the national anthem. So
I understand that, but I also understand the team having a.
But no, I had not
routine.
seen that story of that before.
And if that's what
because that wasn't in any of the stories when it went viral.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's the thing. The viral part was because they were disrespecting the national anthem, and it's like, and then you dig into it, and it's like, no, we do this at every game. It wasn't. We didn't do this at this game on purpose. We didn't know when they were going to do the national anthem, and we certainly wouldn't have done it to disrespect it. So I have to take them at their word. If they do it at every game, then they do it at every game. It's okay. It's a consistent thing.
I think they need to reevaluate that and come out for the national anthem. That's what every athlete in every sport stands. I
agree. There should be no right. There should be no sitting or whatever disrespecting the national anthem.
Well, I do want to wrap with the political cartoons of the week. You always pick such cute ones, Sean. that make my heart flutter. The first one, and I don't understand it fully, all of it. I understand part of it. You'll have to explain something here.
You've seen Planet of the Apes?
Well, I tried to, but my son was scared, so we had to leave the movie theater. Okay. But I remember seeing it as a kid on TV.
Okay, so they have a new Planet of the Apes movie coming out. Okay, so and Planet of the Apes, the story was that basically these guys in a rocket come back to Earth, but they go through some kind of time warp or something, and they land on Earth in the future, and what had happened was the apes and the monkeys had gotten smart, the chimpanzees had gotten smart and were able to talk. And they basically, took over the humans, destroyed the world, with nuclear weapons, and all that was left, at the end of the movie, I think it's Charlton Heston riding the horse goes up on the beach there, and he sees the Statue of Liberty, and he finally figures out he is on Earth, and it's sometime way in the future, and that humanity has destroyed
I needed
Earth.
This clarity.
So that's what the image is with the Statue of Liberty on the beach.
But she's all crumbled.
Right, because
she's disintegrating.
Humans have destroyed the world, yeah.
Okay, because I didn't understand why the guy was like kind of praying to or is he kissing the beach?
Crying. He was actually crying. He fell down and was crying.
Oh, okay. Well, it's quite depressing.
Right. So that's what the thing is. It's like, the Planet of the Apes was humans destroyed the Earth, and that's Biden Harris. Let's finish the job. That's the
kick in the gut right there.
Right.
Because it's so true. As she cackles her way through, fighting to kill babies through America. Because they're still on their high horse about Trump. And I cannot tell you how many sound bites I heard this week that if Trump gets in, abortion's gone forever. This is a national issue. Like they're like panic mode.
Right. And that's why I like Trump's statement, Roe versus Wade was about turning it back to the states. It's been turned back to the states.
Well, they act like you can't get an abortion, And then I actually, there was a woman I was having lunch with this week, and she said, she's like, well, what if you miscarry and then you can't, the doctors can't help you? And I'm like, no, that's not true. If you miscarry and the baby's not viable in your womb, they will help you with that. So I don't understand why people are saying this. You know what I'm saying? Well, they're going to let you walk around with a dead baby in your body. That's good for you.
The problem is, Veronica, is we let them set the argument. We don't go back with the argument.
I said no, that's incorrect. Because if somebody's baby dies in their belly, they're going to help you. You can't walk around with a baby in your belly. You're going to have to,
Right. The fact that the baby's dead is it's dead already.
How is that even an argument? Anyway, that was my week.
You get the rape and incest thing all the time, right? That's the first thing they always go to, rape and incest. And it's like, okay, so how many rape and incest cases are there, of pregnancy? Well, it's like, 1,000th of 1% or something. It's so infinitesimal. It's ridiculous. So the real question is there are 4 abortions every minute in this country. 4 abortions every minute. There's not 4 rapes and incest where women get pregnant at four.
Well, and that was another comment that I put out there when somebody was talking about it. I put something to the effect that we have birth control. This is killing babies. Enough already. I'm just done. Right. We've got birth control. When Chelsea Handler, that stupid comedian, says, well, I've had 3 abortions. you're a fool, you're an idiot, and there's no excuse for this. You're a modern day woman that has sex with everyone. There's birth control, many different forms of it.
And that's the choice. That's the choice argument. It's fine. It's like, well, women's bodies, women's choice. I'm fine. I think you should have a choice. Okay. So your choice is to have sex or not have sex.
Right. Or,
okay. Yeah. That's the choice.
And you have birth control.
The pregnancy is a consequence. Right. The pregnancy is a consequence. It's not a choice. It's a consequence. And back to, we need to change the language when we're talking to these people. Don't accept the fact that being pregnant is a choice.
Well, I'm pushing back. And then I get my LinkedIn hacked in by Miss Deutschland. and then my Twitter, I was, because now I obviously have a Twitter addiction, and I was locked out for hours because Brazil was trying to hack in. So I'm like, why is this happening to me, John? I think it's because I'm out there. And where are they getting these passwords?
Okay. I say I'm not having that problem on Getter, with my Wingman John account there. All I get is just these women from
the voluptuous women too that friend you pictures, on stupid. Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't. Well, the other joke you sent me, it's a guy. It's this Arab guy, and he's screaming "Death to America." It says, "Meanwhile in Michigan, death to America," and he's screaming it. And then there's Joe Biden looking like he's on death's door, eating an ice cream, and he says, "White supremacy is the greatest threat to the United States," and that's his administration, wrapped up with a bow.
Yeah.
I mean, how are we having protests, death to America, and then all this anti-Semitism? So if this doesn't get all the Jewish people to vote for Trump, I don't know what will, because, it's just a scary world out there right now. And I guess I'm thankful that we're vocal, but we're in the panhandle. I feel protected. Apparently I'm a crazy concealed carry Catholic now.
I like that. I'm a concealed carry Catholic.
No, I put that in there.
You need a bumper sticker for that one.
Yeah, I'm done with done, and I'm a concealed carry Catholic. And like that was a bad thing. She's like, guns kill children. No, wackadoodles kill children.
Kill children,
so,
right.
And I don't, like, I engaged her once with being the concealed carry Catholic, but that was it for me. I'm not going to go back, because these people will go back and forth again, because they hate my red hair. I guess as a blonde on LinkedIn for that whole day I was a blonde. I think people might have liked that, John. So.
On for a day.
What are we missing? I mean, it's been an incredible week, and I do recommend people do. I'm going to get George Santos to come on this show. I truly am, and I know when I googled him, there's all these stories.
I'd like to know some of the behind the scenes stuff that was going on.
Well, that was the thing, in that X, like Gates is talking to people. Santos was talking about his alliances too, and supposedly he's running again. So we'll see. He definitely has a following, and he likes my stuff, and he's, he was willing to let me speak this week. So, except I was really tired. So I was like, I'm not speaking today. But then, of course, when Gates came on, a congressman, this is like, he's on X. Like, I feel like we know what he's thinking, what he's doing, because he's constantly telling us. So done with done. And, and you don't even call me back as a constituent. I'm fully done.
Yeah, that's pretty lame. That is lame.
And I've called now multiple times, and I've, I have, like I said, cell phone to staffers, and I don't get a response. So we're done. But what a huge show. We want to thank Darren Gobb from Restore Liberty. You see him on Fox News, and his partner in crime is the retired General Blaine Holt. He's always on Newsmax, so they're quite a tag team fighting for the Constitution. So you need to check them out. And then Zach Sanchez, CEO of Think Real Estate, that adorable boutique real estate here in the Panhandle, that is really working so hard all the time. I love everything they do. So if
and you can't miss their green signs, you
know. No. And I will say, I've talked to Zach. Anytime I've ever called him on any issue, he's literally always taken my call. So I think when you follow him on Instagram and Facebook, they do care about the customer, and it was great hearing about the changes, and we'll get him back because it is an evolving. The real estate world it's evolving. So hopefully by this summer we'll have all the answers on who's going to be funding who, because again, as the seller, I'm always trying to make the most money. And as the buyer, I'm trying to get that house, a little cheaper.
Cheap as I can. Yeah.
Well,
anyways, just remember the buyer always pays, right?
Right.
For everything.
Right. Well, great roundup, John. And Drew Allen from I forgot about Drew, our regular Drew Allen, who we adore, our millennial minister of truth out in Cali. And you got to check out the Drew Allen Show on Patriot TV and his podcast. Both are outstanding. And, I adore Drew, and he's one that really needs to be on the national circuit. And if you love Veronica Live, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. The podcast is on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Podcast Addict, YouTube, LinkedIn. Sometimes I post it on True Social, and it's always on X. And I was kicked off of iHeart, so that was this week too. I'm like, what the hell? The last 2 weeks, I couldn't get the show on iHeart, but I messaged my platform provider, and I'm back on iHeart now. So I just feel like the bad guys don't want us talking, John.
Well, and we need a sponsor or two, or patrons or something,
Yeah, because we definitely this show needs to go national, and we always do have the big guest, and we're fighting the fight for you, me, and America, and making every seat red, and of course the unborn. So check us out on Veronica Live, and John, we'll catch you next show for sure. Have a blessed week, and go enjoy some Freedom, Florida sunshine.
I think I'll hop on a plane and go fly.
Okay, Veronica Live out. Thank you.